All right. Hello, everyone. What's up, Raptors family? This is episode 8 of the It's a Raptors Ting podcast. This is your host who knows the most as it pertains to the game of basketball, the scholar, baller. Yeah, so it really has been quite some time since I've really touched on some Raptors content, in the midst of what happened with Team Canada winning bronze and the FIBA. I really pivoted my focuses to that for the past 2 weeks. However, this week, I'm still kind of on the FIBA vibe. It still is kind of a FIBA vibe thing, but it's always and forever a Raptors ting. And this can be kind of considered a sequel to the very second episode I did on this channel with regards to the Raptors point guard situation. And if you haven't figured it out by now, based off of all the little details, there's only one man right now who really fits the description in terms of the headliner for this week's video, and that is none other than Dennis Schroder. And by the way, in honor of Dennis Schroder, we have to name this episode Secure the Bag, because of that whole debacle roughly about a season ago. He had, for those who don't know, he had an $82 million offer, declined it, and ended up only being able to sign for $29 million after. So significant pay decrease there. Definitely caught a lot of flack for that on social media. Since then, though, I feel like Dennis Schroder has been through his fair share of trials and tribulations. Definitely with the Lakers, not the best showing. From my perspective as a Raptors fan, just coming off of watching Dennis Schroder getting torched by Jamal Murray. And again, Jamal Murray, he's practically the greatest point guard in the league right now, And I'll do a video on Jamal Murray when the time comes, Now's not really the time, but nonetheless, just, Jamal Murray really made Dennis Schroder look like a pylon, out there. And he was just getting torched in the matchup and not really finding a way to be useful. However, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up, this recent data courtesy of the 2023 FIBA World Cup. Dennis Schroder led the German team to its first ever FIBA World Cup title. And he was definitely at the helm of leading them to their title. Not only was he their point guard, their floor general, but he definitely was an offensive threat, a defensive presence, and he showed out as all around their best player. I can't lie. As a Raptors fan, I'm definitely hoping to see the FIBA iteration of Dennis Schroder. And, I have my fingers crossed that the FIBA iteration of Dennis Schroder will show up come training camp and throughout the season. And, if the Raptors make it beyond that, we'll talk during that time. But nonetheless, I think Dennis Schroder, oddly enough, I think Dennis Schroder's game kind of reminds me a little bit of Rajon Rondo, just the way how he places the ball when it comes to passing off of the pick and roll, and the ways in which he's able to contort his body to, finish through the lane and things like that. However, though, one key difference is that Dennis Schroder definitely does have a better shot than Rondo did have. That being said, these are things that I observed when I caught some clips, because admittedly I didn't watch the full-blown FIBA games. A lot of those were happening at various times just because of the hemisphere. Just because of the hemisphere where in which the FIBA World Cup was taking place, is in the opposite hemisphere of the world. So yeah, I didn't get to watch the entire games, but off a lot of the clips that I saw when doing research for this video, very impressed with his patience and his composure with the ball in his hands. And I do think that he really is going to make the most of this opportunity that Darko Rajakovic is going to give him. And the interesting thing here is, there was another point guard by the name of Kyle Lowry who spent a few years in the league before coming to Toronto. And, during those first few years in his career, it could be said that those years, he was just sort of roaming around in mediocrity, and he got the right opportunity in Toronto, and it definitely changed the perception of his career, the overall trajectory of his career. And in a lot of ways right now with what's going on with the current situation with Dennis Schroder and the Raptors are kind of doing this semi-rebuild situation here, it could be said that Dennis Schroder might be able to turn his career around for the better and potentially, I'm willing to go out on a limb. If he capitalizes on this opportunity correctly and he puts up the right numbers, he could be, I'm not going to say he's going to be an all-star, but he might have a season that is all-star caliber, or he might even warrant the MIP award, right? This could be that kind of a season for him. But, he still has quite the road ahead of him, because, with a new coach, I don't think Rajakovic as their coach is really coming in with a full-blown, definitive, you're going to start no matter what. Yes, it's true that Rajakovic did talk to Dennis Schroder prior to the season about his role and things of that nature, but he doesn't really, my initial impression of Rajakovic, he doesn't really strike me as the type of person to be fixated on a plan that he made prior if the present data or the present circumstances are showing that prior plan is ineffective. And I think that's part of the reason why the Raptors hired Rajakovic. They wanted someone to make those adjustments. And I think Dennis Schroder, coming off the summer that he came off of, he's going to really try to lock this starting position down and do what it is that he can to start for this team and be the team's floor general. So I'm definitely excited to see what happens with Dennis Schroder. Nonetheless, that's it for this week's episode, everyone. Remember, secure the bag. Don't be like Dennis Schroder in that sense. Make sure you secure the bag. Please like, comment, subscribe. It helps a lot in the algorithms. This is a new channel. Please help out as much as you can. And hey, whatever you think about the Raptors point guard situation, just write it down in the comment section below. And always remember, Sayin, it's a Raptors Ting Ehh.